Hello, hello. Welcome to the Morning Wrap. Happy Monday. I'm Kalina Estrinos, and we have a lot to get to today, including this. We are talking about a gruesome discovery after rounds of ammunition exploded into a Sylmar home. We're at the scene as investigators try to piece together what happened. Also, 4 men murdered over 4 days. A suspected serial killer now behind bars is expected to appear in court today. Also this morning, our assignment desk manager Mark Liu has details on a building that caught fire not once, but twice in just days. He's working to gather more information for us right now. And our guests today, we have Victor and Libby Boyce from the Cameron Boyce Foundation here, and we're going to talk about their new initiative to help spread awareness on epilepsy. And that is not all. Actress Ava Cantrell is here. She stars in a new horror film, Abigail, and we have an exclusive clip. But first, it's gonna get warm out there. Let's go over to Paul Deanna right now for a quick look at your forecast. Good morning.
Kalina, good morning to you. We have some exclusive weather around here. Talk to your friends who live in Chicago or New York City, even Atlanta and Seattle. They are not getting sunshine at 73 degrees. We will today, or almost there right now, honestly. It's 70 in downtown Los Angeles. We'll gain 3 or 4 more degrees throughout the afternoon. Clouds have thinned out. Visibility is good. The humidity levels are nice, and there is no wind. It is weather perfection on a Monday. High temperatures today. Inland Empire, upper 70s. Hemet, 77 for you. Temecula, Riverside, San Bernardino, upper 70s. Chino, Fullerton, close to 80 today. Burbank, Pasadena, 76. If today's not warm enough for you, you could always fly to Hawaii, or you could wait till tomorrow, because tomorrow Los Angeles will hit 81 degrees. We will cool off a bit. Thursday, Friday, back down to average, which is the upper 60s, low 70s, warming back up to the mid 70s for the weekend. Sunshines across the board. You see that many things in a row in Vegas, you're going to win something. We win something weather-wise here. Valleys, 83 tomorrow. We stay in the 80s on Wednesday, lower 70s Thursday and Friday. Inland Empire, a little breezy today. 76 this afternoon, 80 tomorrow. High desert, you'll get into the 70s on Tuesday and Wednesday. And why not the beach tomorrow? Feet in the sand, 79 degrees, your first Tuesday of December. Kalina, back to you.
All right, Paul, thank you. We are getting new details in an explosive house fire in Sylmar that left 2 people dead. KCAL News reporter Tina Patel is at the scene now with more.
The LAPD now says that a man and woman found after a house fire in Sylmar both had gunshot wounds, but it'll be up to the coroner to decide whether that was what killed them or whether the fire played a role. The fire broke out early yesterday morning, and there were sounds, what sounded like gunfire, but the police say thousands of rounds of ammunition were found on the property, so it's not clear if neighbors actually were hearing gunshots or if it was ammo that was set off by the fire. Firefighters eventually put out the fire and then found the bodies of a 50-year-old man, a 65-year-old woman, and a dog. The names and relationship between those victims has not been released yet. In Sylmar, for the Morning Wrap, I'm Tina Patel, KCAL News.
Tina, thank you. Also, the man suspected of killing 4 people in 4 days is appearing in court today. KCAL News reporter Rick Montanez is outside the courthouse in downtown LA with the latest on this high-profile case.
This is a complicated case that involves multiple agencies, so the district attorney's office right now is putting together the case to submit it to court, and then later in the day, Powell will make that court appearance. The 33-year-old is being called a serial killer by law enforcement. This weekend, LAPD Chief Michael Morse and his detectives recovered a handgun from Powell's car that they believe was the murder weapon used in the killing of the 3 men who were living on the streets in various neighborhoods of Los Angeles. As I mentioned, the case involves several local agencies and federal investigators. One criminal defense attorney, who's also a former prosecutor, tells us that based on the police reports and the video that he's seen that has been released, he sees sociopathic and cold-blooded behavior. The investigators used surveillance video to help track down Powell, and LA County Sheriff Robert Luna says there is an extensive criminal record, and based on the crimes he's also accused of now, that is why they're looking into the possibility of any additional victims that have not been identified at this point. So a lot for investigators and prosecutors to work on. In downtown LA, for the Morning Wrap, Rick Montanez, KCAL News.
Rick, thank you. We do want to take a look at some of the other big stories we are tracking today. So for that, I'm joined by Assignment Desk Manager Mark Liu here at the desk. And first up, LAPD right now is searching for 2 suspects behind a deadly shooting at a gas station. What do you know about this?
Yeah, so we've been working on this all morning here at the desk. Detectives tell us that the victim may have just been sitting at one of the gas pumps at this gas station in South LA when 2 suspects in a car drove up, opened fire, and then just sped off. So the shooting went down at about 11 last night near West Manchester and South Hoover in South LA. LAPD officers rushed to the scene. Lights and sirens. They find a man in his 30s by the gas pump suffering from multiple gunshot wounds. LAFD paramedics were immediately called, tried to provide life-saving measures, but the man was too far gone. He was pronounced dead at the scene. Detectives have developed evidence that 2 suspects approached in a car, opened fire on the victim, and then sped off. Investigators are now checking to see if there was a working security camera system at this gas station, which should hopefully provide more clues as to the identities of those suspects, or even maybe the description of the vehicle they were in. We don't even have that right now.
Okay. Well, you also have this too. This is a fire that happened in the same building, the same exact building that burned just a couple days ago?
The exact building, and both times this fire was pretty big. I mean, today's fire burned with the same intensity that it did last Friday, and actually a part of the building collapsed from today's fire.
Was that the same building that collapsed last week too?
Yes.
Okay.
And some firefighters actually got injured in that collapse.
Yeah.
Not badly, though. So this is the second time this building has burned, as you said, in 72 hours. It started up last Friday at about 1 a.m. on Sunset Boulevard, right where the 101 and the 110 cross in downtown. During the firefight, 2 firefighters actually fell through the 2nd floor down to the 1st. That was last Friday. They're okay. Today, just before 3 a.m., this fire, it started up again. And you can see the flames ripping through the structure this morning. Los Angeles City Fire says this building was all boarded up when they arrived for the initial report by a 911 caller of someone or trash being burned at this location. 60 firefighters responded, and today's firefight lasted about 40 minutes. You can see the building collapsing here. Thankfully, no injuries this time. LAFD arson investigators are now going to respond to this fire again to try and figure out what ignited this fire for the 2nd time. Kalina?
All right, Mark, thank you. Faculty and staff at Cal Poly Pomona are holding a 1-day strike today, and it's the first one this week at Cal State schools as a faculty union negotiates a new labor contract. Now, they are demanding a 12% raise, smaller class sizes, and more manageable workloads. Cal State officials say they cannot afford the union's demands. They claim meeting the union's demands could result in tuition increases. Also, more CSU strikes are expected this week. Cal State San Francisco is set to walk out tomorrow, Cal State LA on Wednesday, and Cal State Sacramento on Thursday. Currently, more than 3 million people are living with epilepsy in the United States. In fact, it's the 2nd leading cause of death from a neurological condition, which is why the Cameron Boyce Foundation has made it its mission to spread awareness after the tragic loss of actor Cameron Boyce in 2019. So joining me right now to talk more about the foundation are Cameron's parents, Libby and Victor. Thank you both so much for being here.
Thank you.
I know this is an extremely difficult topic to discuss, but coming from that, you guys have now made it your mission to give back and raise awareness. So why was that so important for you both?
You know, it's really about our love of Cameron, and what we have to remember is, you know, we have to think about what he would be wanting us to do. And I think it's just, it's a way to honor him, and it's a way to heal is not the right word, but it's a way to kind of put our energy and our grief into something that's bigger than us, and that means something to the world, and certainly something that is really important, and we know that he would expect us to do.
Tell me a little bit about your son. I was on social media beforehand coming into this interview, and I watched a couple clips and people talking about how great he was and how wonderful he just was to be around. What are some of the things that you guys remember the most?
Well, we always like to say that Cameron was the life of the party. Whenever he showed up on set or at a family function or anything, that's when the party started. That's when everything lit up, and he just had an energy that was just effervescent.
He never said a negative word about anybody or anything. He was definitely somebody that people gravitated to. He's sort of like, we used to just sort of describe him as Switzerland, like everybody would come to him for stability and just, you know, saneness. Very wise and just absolutely lovely person.
I love hearing you guys talk about him because you can tell how lovely he was and how much you guys cared about him and still do. Let's talk about the diagnosis. I want you guys to explain, if you can, anything that parents or people should just look out for. Because when I was reading this, and correct me if I'm wrong, his seizures weren't frequent by any means when he was growing up.
Right, right. Well, he never had them until he was about 16.
Okay.
And then you're diagnosed with epilepsy once you've had more than one. And really, it's about ensuring, I mean, times when hormones change and so on is when you're a little bit more at risk for epilepsy. So the point is for everybody to know that it is possible 1 in 26 people get epilepsy in their lifetime. You need sleep, you need, to take care of yourself, you need to, not drink too much, you need to just be less stressed and so on. So there are a lot of things that, as young people growing up, there's lots of triggers for them around those issues. Cameron just kind of came out of left field with his first seizure, and he had one every year or so. So it was not something that we thought was like, yes, it was a big deal, but it wasn't a life-threatening thing. And we thought because he was in his bed, he was safe, and he wouldn't fall and hit his head. So it's really hard to say what parents should look for, but just know that it's a possibility, and be sure to take care of yourself, your health.
Let's talk about the candle and also the campaign. So tell me a little bit about both.
So the candle is a lavender candle, and lavender is the color that we choose. Lavender may have calming effects when you smell lavender, so it's a good thing, like she just said, to stay calm and be peaceful, to help hopefully prevent or avoid a seizure. But it's also the color of epilepsy awareness. So, well, purple is, and so we choose to wear these colors, and hopefully people will like them and like the candle.
I think they're lovely.
And like the product.
The candle.
And buy these things and help support us in what we're trying to do, and raise funds for epilepsy awareness especially.
Candles are great.
Everyone loves
Christmas,
candles.
stocking
Yeah, I
stuffers,
was about
you
to
name
say
it.
this
Yeah.
for
And who
holidays.
doesn't like lavender? Like lavender is beautiful. It's a beautiful flower. It brings butterflies. It brings insects. It brings everything, and it's just a life-affirming plant. And so we put it in a candle, and we're getting donations off of it so we could do more epilepsy awareness.
This is great. So where can people go to get more information, to possibly help, donate, fundraise, whatever?
So it's the CameronBoyceFoundation.org. And the site is very dynamic. It's not a boring site. It's constantly changing. There's great information. Like you asked about what can people do. There's things we have, our Now What campaign. We have support groups on Facebook. There's lots of things to help people because we didn't have these tools. We weren't armed with enough information at all. So part of our main mission is to give people the tools and awareness to help them where to go, what kind of hospital to deal with, what kind of doctor to talk to, these types of things. So CameronBoyceFoundation.org is where you go.
Lots of resources and information. Thank you both so much for being here. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having us, and happy holidays.
Yes, thank you, Kalina.
Of course, and we'll be right back.
Something is coming. I can feel it. In 3, 2,